Okay, welcome everybody to the October 23rd architecture meeting. There's Tracy.
Finally, I figured I had to turn my video on.
Mine, I look like I'm sitting in a hotel room, so let's see what we got from last week.
So while Steve gets that together, just a side note on some good stuff that happened at Deploy Hub. You know, we have been working with the folks from New Space Nexus and the Space Force, really trying to understand how the public sector manages some of the data that we're looking at, in particular, the deployed endpoints. And Deploy Hub did get accepted into something called Space Domain Awareness Technology Accelerator Program in a mini accelerator. Steve will be out there the first 2 weeks of November. I'll be there the second week, so that we can start having discussion with the public sector about some of the questions that we were asking last week. Where is a good place to get that endpoint data? So, it doesn't impact Ortelius directly, but in a way it does if we can get some more insight into how the public sector is managing endpoints. Maybe that will reflect back on how the private sector does, even though I know they do business differently.
What's the name of I know it's the Catalyst Systems campus, but the name of the accelerator again?
It's the Space Domain Awareness Technology Acquisition Program. They call it SDA TAPS.
Space Domain Awareness.
I think it's TAPS, TAPS.
Yeah.
I think it's the Technology Acquisition Program something, but they call it TAPS.
Steve, I shared the link in the chat.
Alrighty. Yes, that's very exciting. So I will be up. We actually the first week is virtual, then the next 2 weeks are on site up in Colorado Springs on the Catalyst campus.
Which means that you won't be in 2 weeks. You will not be at this call, Steve.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to cancel it or I can lead it.
I
say we go ahead and have it.
Yeah, you could probably lead it, and it'll be interesting because I don't know if any of you know, there's this system that the Air Force created called Platform One. Basically, it's GitLab for the Air Force, and this accelerator and the Catalyst campus is the folks that created it. So we're going to get some insight into how the military and the government use GitLab, basically. Oh, it should be interesting.
I think so. I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say. So what happened was I pitched to them in a program that we are completely unsuited for, but I went ahead and did a pitch. And within 2 hours, they called me back and said, we really, really, really want to work with you on what you guys are up to. We think this is spot on, but we don't have an actual place for you, but we have an accelerator starting that gives you all the basic information about how to do business with us. So we're going to bring you on and we'll figure out the rest later.
Yep, so they made a special slot for us. So on to Hacktoberfest. Jing, I approved all your PRs that are out there. Just let me know if there's any that I'm missing. Also, everybody check your Hacktoberfest website to make sure that the PRs are getting accepted, or if there's ones that you expect that are still like in limbo. We got another week left on that. I saw a couple of mine get approved, so they're starting to move slowly through them. And I think, Jing, we may need one or two more for you. that we need to kind of put in place. So
Okay. Any suggestions? Or I remember you mentioned about the Go script. I can take a look.
yeah, there's I'll try to browse through. I think I assigned one of them to you for a GitHub action, I think.
Okay.
But double check to see if I did assign something. If I didn't, if you could send me an email and I will go through and pick the next best one for you.
Sure.
And on
I'll
that
do that.
note, Steve rewrote our CLI. I don't know if he ever told everybody about that, but he decided to get rid of the old CLI and he wrote a new one in Go.
Whoa,
That
Steve, you ninja.
I know he is a ninja, isn't he? That has not been documented or tested.
Right. That's
So that would be
Me.
a
I want to
fairly easy
test
one.
it.
Go for it. Go for it.
okay.
So it needs to be
So,
tested, and it needs to be the old CLI documentation needs to be pulled out, and the new documentation needs to be added.
I'd love to do that. I want to run. So I can run it in my nine node cluster here, and I can test it here locally.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Cool.
And on that same note, I would say almost probably 80% of the way done with the new backend that Tracy talked about last time. So the new backend and new front end are being worked on. I'm about 80% of the way done. I sent out the architecture diagram. Let me hunt that down so you can look at it real quick if you didn't get it. And basically it uses pure Orango, so no Postgres anymore, and it is very tailored back, very focused on what we have going on that we've talked about with how to kind of onboard folks and the data that they need. And thank you, Tony, for looking at the documentation of the architecture diagram. I did see your notes, but I did not have a chance to make the changes yet.
No worries.
So there is the design doc, and it's been interesting journey with this one because I've used it's all in Go, and I actually started from scratch with basically just throwing some concepts at Claude AI and seeing what it came up with, and it's actually moving along pretty good. So I would say that this repo is probably 95% of it was generated by Claude AI, and I've actually I go ahead and actually I have a paid version of Claude, and I actually have to wait a couple hours because I run out of tokens. And also I've exceeded message lengths. So you have to start a new chat session because the message lengths get too big. But it's been an interesting experience going through the prompts and having it refine everything, what's happening. And some of the tricks I've learned is that it'll give you all these files and stuff, but it'll give them like in weird orders and just pieces of it. And one of the things I found is I tell it to give me the solution one file at a time so I can cut and paste. And it'll actually give me a file if it's small enough for me to actually cut and paste it from the web browser into Visual Studio. And if it's too long, it'll actually go ahead and break it up into parts. So you can say, here's part 1, here's part 2, here's part 3, and allow me to cut and paste it. I found that works a lot better than having it try to generate the full files all at once for it to cut and paste, like in its little code browser. And what happens is in the full code browser that it has there, it actually, when it pauses or gets hung up, it makes syntax errors. And it's not a complete runnable solution. So that's one of the things I found that I've used in getting the data back out of Claude. Now I've tried the Claude Visual Studio plugin, but that thing just runs out of tokens so fast. It is like way overkill. It just does crazy stuff with your session, and within 10 minutes you're done with your paid version. It's quite ridiculous. So please take a look at that design doc. If you have any questions or comments, just go ahead and create an issue, and or just email me or put it on Discord, and I'll take care of it. So I'm trying to think what else we have going on.
We just have one other something I just want to bring up. So as we go down this journey with this new redesign, we need to it would be good for us to do some discovery calls on what we're up to. So if you know of somebody in security, like at a CISO level, that would be willing to sit down with us and hear what how we're making changes, and so we can sort of pitch the idea to them to see if we're going down the correct road, that would be great. And Tony, I'll reach out to John as well to see if he's willing to take a look. I'm sure he would be, but it would be good to get some potential enterprise reflection on it. So if you know anybody in those areas that would be willing to do that, just ping me and I'll reach out to them. I'd like to do 10 altogether, and I have 1 done. So we have 9 more to go.
Chris Perkins at Splunk.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't think I do know him.
Okay, we can catch up later.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to do an email intro, I'd be happy to let them know what we're trying to do. But that would be a good contact, somebody at Splunk.
Let's see what else we got going on. On the MCP side, I haven't seen much movement on that, but I think that's okay, because I think once we get the new redesign further along, that we'll be able to do some more details and build out some of the MCP pieces on that front. So I think I think the timing's fine. So that will come into play here pretty soon. I'm suspecting probably early next week. By the end of next week, my plan is to have most of the new backend in place as we go through. One of the interesting things that actually came about was because we're using Arango, and it has this idea of collections and edges. The database model ended up being this hub and spoke model that allows us to scale to millions of releases and millions of CVEs very easily through that model.
And way faster.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot faster because of that hub and spoke implementation. So so check that out if you're interested in how hub and spoke works in the database model. Yeah, Sacha, what do you got?
Steve, I was going to ask, during your research, did you ever consider a GraphQL database for API?
I did not go the GraphQL route.
Okay.
He
No, I
did
just
look
wanted to
at it
ask
though,
you.
Sasha. He did look at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
No, I was
found
just interested to ask you what you thought. Yeah.
that I know like GitHub uses GraphQL and
Hmm.
stuff like that. The problem with what I found with GraphQL is it ends up being a monolith and everything's kind of tied together. All
I
in one
see.
piece. Right now, the implementation is a monolith, but it is
Yeah.
designed if we want to break it into microservices that we can. Because there's not that many endpoints that we have. I think
Hmm.
we have 4 or 5 endpoints for what we need to do to answer those questions. So at this
Okay.
point, I was trying to keep it relatively simple. I think we could probably layer GraphQL on top of it.
Oh, I
Um,
see. Yeah, that's clever.
and I'll take a look at that. I know a lot of folks like GraphQL for API endpoints.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not an expert at by any means, but just what I've read, it can save on a lot of data, and you can be very specific, right? In terms of how it serves back the
Yeah,
information. Yeah, yeah.
it definitely the GraphQL definitely does a lot of the processing on the server side,
Mm,
and kind of like correlates the data together server side. So what gets transmitted across the wire back to the browser side's pretty refined. Now,
yes, yes.
some of the things that I have not implemented yet, that we'll need to do when we tie the front end is filtering, and that's where the GraphQL may come into place with filtering. So I want to filter on my project name, this tag, and
Mm,
severity
for
level.
specific
Yeah.
stuff, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think the
Yeah, that
GraphQL
makes a lot of sense.
may come into play on that. I'll take a look.
Okay, cool. No, I just wanted to ask you and see what you thought and if it was ever something on your radar. Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked at it a while ago, and it just for our implementations, it just never fit. But now that we're doing
Mm,
something from scratch,
yeah.
it may work a lot better.
Okay. Ah, thanks.
Yeah.
So on the topic of this new effort that we are about to embark on, because now that Steve will have cleaned up the back end, we can building, adding microservices, changing the front end, doing the work around a dashboard. Those kinds of activities are going to be much, much easier. And we will need to build a kind of a requirements document around it. We know we have a very basic requirements document that we've been talking about, trying to answer the question, right? Where's the CVE? What's the blast radius of the CV and how do I fix it? We're going to need a project manager. I really believe that we should, once we have this nailed down, we're going to need to create a project branch, and what we really, really need a project manager. So if any of you feel compelled to be a project manager, and Jing's raising her hand, yay, Jing! I was hoping that you would.
Jing!
We really, that is an area that we are bad at. And I look back over our history, and we as a contributor community, we need somebody to keep us straight. So yay, Jing. That would be great.
I can tell you Jing is good at it.
I
I guess
bet
that's
she
why
is.
Tony keep me.
And Jing, if you need help in any way, I would recruit Arvin, because Arvin, I think it would be really beneficial for Arvin to learn to do some project management. So, we always think about mentorship in this process, and not everybody can do, we all have our own lives that we're doing. So I would say,
Yeah,
Arvin, if you want to
yeah,
participate in that.
yeah. I was like going to say like Jing, I want to become your intern
Sure.
and learn from you. Yeah, it will be like very exciting.
I would
So
need
Jing,
it
make
too.
sure you include and you involve Arvin as much as he can, so he can learn how to do project management. Project management is not easy. Let me tell you right now, it is not. So it's a good skill to learn. Thank you, Jing, for
Thanks.
stepping up,
Plenty,
and Arvin.
plenty of bad ones, that's for sure.
I know.
I work with them.
It's so bad. I know having good project management is so key to getting a successful release out. And
Yeah.
it's, really is.
Yeah.
So
Zing,
I'm
that's
guessing that within a month, we should start thinking about breaking it up into small bites. Once Steve gets the back end done, and we can start putting tasks together of what needs to be worked on.
You mean once Anthropic has cloned Steve to fix their broken models?
Well,
That is an interesting thing you bring up. One of the things I do like around Anthropic versus ChatGPT is Anthropic understands that I've told it to say, undo your last recommendation or your last, basically I say, undo your last recommendation, and it'll actually revert back to and forget that. Where
Yeah, exactly.
ChatGPT, if you say undo the last transaction, it still remembers it. So from there on forward, it'll start hallucinating using that data to try to tell it to
Yeah.
forget.
It tied its shoelaces, but it didn't know how to untie them.
Yeah.
And it just made it not worse.
like you call it, a delinquent schoolboy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like
Yeah.
ChatGPT. I just think it drives me nuts. I don't use it anymore. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah. For the Steve, I also do one thing. If I like the changes, I immediately stage those changes with a commit. So in case of like any new changes, I can just discard the changes.
Yeah. And the other thing I like about Anthropic is you can hook up your GitHub repo. So I'll go to the repo and click on my files instead of having to upload them or do anything
exactly.
like that. Then it'll go read the repo relatively quickly, which is great. So it makes the coding a lot easier.
I've also got a tip. You know what I do? I clone the GitHub repos to my local, and I use Claude Code.
Oh
Then
yeah.
it can read the entire application and understand it completely, so that I can implement things, right? Stuff like that.
Nice.
It really helps. Yeah. And MCP servers.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we start to get really integrating the MCP part of our model. I think it'll be a really good learning experience for all of us.
Yeah, I've got 7 that I can share that are game changers for me.
Nice.
And we might learn about AI agents too, and do some agentic work on it. So before we have 5 minutes left. I did get a blog out for our December 17th event. I know this is an outreach, but please go check out the Ortelius site, go to blogs, and the first blog will be the announcement for the 2025 holiday party. And let me know if I got anything wrong.
Oh, is this an outreach meeting? I thought this was architecture.
No, it's not. It is. It's architecture. But I just want to let everybody know it's there so they can share it into their social
No, that's
network.
cool. No, that's cool. That's totally cool. I just thought I got my brain.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Anything
Sounds like
else?
we're wrapping up.
Yep. Does anybody have anything else I may have missed? Alrighty. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. We will chat in a couple weeks.
Okay, bye now.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.